Hello students, welcome to lecture number 2 of revision on unit number 1. So in this lecture, we will cover the two of the remaining methods from the unit number 1. In the previous lecture, I have told you in the unit number 1 of structural analysis 1, we have basically 4 methods to study. First is the Macaulay method, second one is the moment area method, third one is the conjugate beam method, and fourth one is your strain Clausius first theorem or strain energy based method. Okay, so in the previous lecture we have covered first two important methods. In this lecture, in the lecture number 2 of revision on unit number 1, we will cover remaining two methods. So I am going to start with the conjugate beam method. In the conjugate beam method, what this theorem says or what this concept says, this conjugate beam says, or it is what type of beam it is, because usually we come across a beam, we have already studied and analyzed the simply supported, cantilever and different types of beams in the first unit, right? But what we are doing with this new type of beam, conjugate beam, right? So let's learn it. Conjugate beam is a fictitious beam. Fictitious means imaginary, which has the same length as a real beam. Okay, so we're gonna draw a fictitious beam of our real beam and which has a exactly same length as per our real beam. But what is supported and detailed in such a manner that when it is loaded by M by EI diagram. Now, what is M by EI diagram? Let's suppose this is your real beam, then you drawn some conjugate beam for it, and now you are loaded this conjugate beam with M by EI diagram. It means that M stands for bending moment diagram. M stands for bending moment diagram, and whatever moment you come across in the bending moment diagram, divided with the EI. Okay, that will give you M by EI diagram. Okay, we will learn it through one problem. Before that, let's understand what it is. So M by EI diagram. Okay, so we have to load M by EI diagram upon our conjugate beam. Alright, and then what happened? Diagram of a real beam. Okay, the shear in the conjugate beam, okay, the shear in the conjugate beam at any section, okay, is equal to slope at real beam. So first purpose is achieved. We can able to find theta or slope at any point. Let's suppose A, we have to take shear force at that A point in the conjugate beam. Understood? Then if you want to know, and if you want to know deflection, then the bending moment in a conjugate beam at any section is equal to the corresponding deflection of the real beam. Understood? If we want to calculate theta, we have to consider shear force at that section. If we want to know deflection y, then we should consider bending moment at that section. That's what conjugate beam tells us. Now let's understand how to draw conjugate beam for real beam. So support conditions in actual beam and conjugate beams are different, and that's why we are learning it. See here, in the first part I have drawn real beams, in the second part I have drawn conjugate beams. Let's see with the first case. In the first case I have drawn a cantilever beam. Okay, so from here we get to know the free end of cantilever. Let's name it as a A. It turns to cantilever fixed end. It turns to the fixed end. Okay, so free end turns into the fixed end and fixed end turns into the free end. So first rule is that if you come across fixed end, you should make it free. And if you come across a free end, then you should turn it into fixed support. Okay, instead of saying end, we will say if you come across a fixed support, make it free. if we come across a free support, turns it into the fixed support. Understood? Next is, if you have hinge support like this along with two reactions at support, the hinge reaction will remain hinge. Both of the hinge supports remain hinge only. So no change in hinge support. If real beam consists of hinge support, conjugate beam will also consist of hinge only. No change. Then if you have roller and hinge combination, if you have hinge at one support and roller at another, roller will remain roller and hinge will remain hinge. Therefore, we can say hinge and roller will not change in the conjugate beam. They will remain as it is. If next is, if I said there is a fixed end and at other end it is simply supported, it means that this beam is propped cantilever along with the internal hinge. At that time, fixed end becomes free, roller remains roller, and this internal hinge turns into the internal roller. Internal hinge turns into what? Internal roller. So the thing we should note from this case is, if there is an internal roller, if there is an internal hinge, it will turns into the internal roller. If there is a internal hinge, you should turn it into internal roller. And what if there is an internal roller? Internal roller will change into internal hinge. Understood? Now next thing is properties of conjugate beam. So three are the important properties which I want to make understand. See here, the first conjugate property says that the length of conjugate beam is always equal to the length of actual beam. Okay, that we learn from the definition of conjugate beam. Next is, sagging bending moment for a real beam is given, it gives positive M by EI diagram, and hogging bending moment for real beam gives negative M by EI diagram. Okay, so as usual, sagging is considered as gives positive M by EI diagram, whereas if there is a hogging bending moment in a real beam, it will turns out to be negative M by EI diagram. Let's make it clear. Yes, sagging bending moment in the real beam will gives us positive bending moment diagram, M by EI diagram, and hogging bending moment in the real beam will give us negative M by EI. This you will get idea of this. You will get better by solving examples. So in the next, immediately after this, I will try to solve one problem for you. You will get better idea from that. And the last rule or property of a conjugate beam is that positive M by EI diagram means upward loading and negative M by EI diagram means downward loading. That you will understand with this problem. So let's discuss this problem now. A cantilever is loaded as shown in figure below. Using conjugate beam, find slope at B and deflection at C. Okay, so they asked us slope at theta B and deflection y C, and EI value is given to us. Now as we know, it is a cantilever beam. Cantilever beam is a real beam and we have to turn it into conjugate beam. So fixed end will become free and free end will become fixed. Understood? Once we done with this, we will draw a M by EI diagram. For that, first we need to calculate bending moment calculations. So here I given you bending moment calculations. So see, moment at C, we know at free end of a cantilever moment will be 0. Therefore moment at C is equals to 0. Then bending moment at B. Okay, at B we have a different I values. Before B we have I, and after E the value becomes thrice of I. Okay, so we will calculate bending moment before B and after B twice. Okay, so let's do it. Bending moment at B, which is after B, actually after crossing or passing after the B, that bending moment will be 2 into 6, 2 into 6. And what will be the I will be I only. Okay, so it will be before bending moment. Okay, so I will be taken from this region. That's what bending moment before the B. Now just after B, what happens? The I changes. Therefore whatever bending moment, what will be the bending moment? 2 into 6, but divided by I will be from this region now, and that is 3I. Therefore our moment becomes minus 4 by I. Next is your bending moment at A. Okay, so again we need a diagram. Bending moment at A will be this 2 into total distance, so 2 into 12, but we are writing it for at A, and while crossing this we get to know I is 3I. Therefore bending moment will be minus 24 divided by 3EI, so it becomes minus 8 by EI. Now if I draw this diagram, bending moment diagram, 0 at C, before B will be minus 12. Okay, minus 12. Then after B, just crossing after, or we can say right to the B, left to the B. So right to the B it is 12, left to the B will be minus 4, will be minus 4. And then at A what is the value? Minus 8. Okay, so that's how you have drawn M by EI diagram. This is what you call M by EI diagram. Now you must be thinking about this loading. Why this loading is downward? Because see, now you can get the second property of conjugate beam, which says that third property, a positive M by EI diagram means upward loading, but we come across negative because our diagram in the cantilever, whatever moment is a negative moment, right? So when you drawing conjugate beam, we come across negative M by EI diagram. It says that the M by EI diagram is positive. It means that upward loading, but we in the cantilever beam we know that while writing moment we come across a negative values. Therefore our bending moment diagram is on negative side, right? It means that negative M by EI diagram, and if the M by EI diagram is negative, then we should take a downward loading. Therefore in this diagram I have shown a loading in downward direction. Now I hope you understood this part. Now I have taken a fixed support on free side, and fixed side is make free. Okay, now third step is simple. As definition says, slope at any point, because they asked us at theta B, you should take a shear at B for a conjugate beam. Okay, so here we have conjugate beam with the M by EI loading. So shear we want at B, so we have to take shear force by calculate. Shear force is nothing but reaction at that point, right? So reaction will be given by this loading. If you calculate area of this part, you will come across a reaction at B. And how I did that? By looking at shape, we know it's a trapezoidal. Therefore 8 by EI plus 12 by EI divided by 2 into horizontal distance, that is 6 meter. That's what I did over here. And we will come across, once we calculate this, we come across a slope will be 36 by EI. There is something wrong with this unit is wrong. Okay, now if you put the value of EI, because EI value is given into the question. See here, EI value is given into the question. So if once calculating shear force, we will put the value of EI into it, and final answer is in 0.00067 radian, okay, in a clockwise. Now next step is deflection at sea. How to calculate deflection? For deflection we have to take bending moment of M by EI diagram. They asked us a deflection at sea. So we will take bending moment from A to C, from between A to C, about C, because we want to calculate at C. Therefore we will calculate moment of A to C at C. Understood? So I have divided given bending moment diagram into three parts. 1, 2, and this one is 3. Okay, so let's do it one by one. In this triangle, what will be the bending moment? Bending moment will be the area into perpendicular distance up to C. So triangle area is 1/2 B into H, 1/2 B into H. H is 6 meter into perpendicular distance. What will be the perpendicular distance? 2/3 of length. It means that 2/3 of 6. Next will be your rectangular. Rectangular has vertical depth as a 4 EI. So 4 EI into horizontal distance as a 6 meter into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance from this to C, because we are calculating up to C. So half of the 6, that is 3, and this next is a 6. So 3 plus 6 or 6 plus 3. Next is your remaining bottom triangle, which has a value of 8 minus 4, because 4 is already covered, upper rectangular is covered, therefore we remain only with 4. Okay, so 4 EI into horizontal distance is 6, 1/2, because we are writing it for triangle, and perpendicular distance of it, which will be 2/3 into length plus 6. Understood? Once you solve it for above values, you will come across a final value of YC as 480 divided by EI. So YC will be 8.89 mm. Once you put EI value as a 5.4 as given in the question, you will come across YC equals to 8.89 mm in a downward direction. Now we are solving second method. We are trying to learn second method or a last method of first unit. That is Castigliano's first theorem. It is strain energy based method, and what this method says, a Castigliano's first theorem states that partial derivative, okay, not complete derivation, okay, what we are taking, partial differentiation of total strain energy with respect to any load gives deflection under that point. Okay, so we will able to find deflection by using theorem number 1 of Castigliano, and they said take a partial differentiation of strain energy. Strain energy is represented by U, and U tends to 0 to L into what? M square divided by 2EI dx. Okay, take a partial differentiation of this with any load. Okay, any load you can take it as a W or P, whatever you assume, and that will gives you deflection. How to integrate that? Integrate M into dabba M by dabba P. We will do it with the help of problem. It will be more clear. So question says determine deflection at a center of beam. Okay, at the center of this beam AB loaded with UDL of intensity W throughout the length of span. Okay, now in this beam we want to calculate deflection at center, right? But a very important role is that we are differentiating it with the load, right? Dabba M by dabba P. but we don't have P force anywhere on this. Or you may say, madam, there is a W load or UDL is present on it, but how can we differentiate with this W load? We need a concentrated load. We need a concentrated load to differentiate DABA M with respect to P. And where that load must be present? That load must be present where we are calculating deflection. So your W load is uniformly distributed load, that to be on complete span. But if we want to calculate deflection at center, we want a variable load for differentiation purpose. Okay, so please assume a variable load P acting downward, a variable concentrated load P acting downward at the center of your span. Okay, once you did that, we have a formula with us that says take a strain energy DABA U by DABA W, that gives you integration of 0 to L into M. M is a moment equation, and differentiate that moment equation with respect to any load DABA W. Okay, so here to calculate moment equation, we will go with this table. This table is very important. Once you understand the concept behind writing this table, you will clearly understand this method. Okay, so this table says that, see here, yes, that table says region, origin and limit, because we are doing partial differentiation, but then we gonna integrate it. Okay, we are writing it for small regions, and integration means what? Summation, right? Integration means what? Summation. So once we write differentiation equation or moment equation for small region, to get its complete result in a one, we will do summation of it. Therefore, first we want to know in what region we are applying moment equation, what is the origin of that, and then limit EI M and DABA M by DABA W. So A to C, see here, A is present over here, C is somewhere in between where we applied a point load, and at the center we can say C is at the center and B is at end support. So in A to C region, origin I have taken A, limit will be 0 to L by 2, because C is at center, it will cut our total length into half, therefore L by 2 on this side, L by 2 on other side. EI will remain same because there is no variation in EI as shown in the question or figure. Then we will try to write a moment equation, but to write moment equation we need to know what is reaction at A support. So let's try to calculate reaction at A support. So it is symmetrical beam, you can simply write as WL by, wait a minute, yes, on the simply UDL is there and one point load is also there. So what will be the reaction at this end and this end? Again, by the symmetry you can say that W into L divided by 2 plus P by 2. At second end, WL divided by 2 plus P by 2. That will be the force. Okay, that will be the reactions at A and B end. Okay, so first this force into region is this much, which is L by 2, and we are writing moment at C. Okay, so that will be, reaction will be P by 2 plus W L by 2 into distance is how much? X, because we are considering, why I am not taking it on a complete length, because we are differentiating it, and therefore we assumed just before, sorry, yes, just before the center span where point load is applied, we will assume a x distance and we will consider moment up to that x distance. That moment will be reaction at A, that is P by 2 plus WL by 2 into x, that is making clockwise moment, therefore taken positive. Then it is downward force UDL making anti-clockwise moment, therefore minus W into x by 2, which will gives us W x square by 2. Okay, done. What will be the partial differentiation with respect to W? That will be x by 2. That will be x by 2. Understood? Next is, I hope you know how to do partial differentiation. Next is, we will write for this region. Okay, second region. Second half will be B2C, and in this B2C region we are writing it for x distance. We are writing it for x distance, and moment will be exactly same because there is a symmetrical reactions, or a reactions are same at both the ends, so everything is remains same, and partial differentiation of it will become x by 2. Now what remains? To calculate deflection, we have to take integration of it. So how to integrate? I can integrate only one and multiply it with 2. Okay, multiply it with 2, because see, for that, yes, differentiation and then we are doing its integration. Integration will be into m into da by m by da by w. That's why in the table we wrote one equation for m and we differentiated it with respect to w. Now integrate this part, this m into da by m by da by w over a given limit. So no need to do it twice because both the equations are gonna same. So do it once and you will multiply it with 2. So in the first part I am writing from 0 to L by 2. Now the very important thing which I make you understand is that I am writing P by 2 equals to 0. Why I am writing it equals to 0? Because it is a dummy load. It is a fictitious load. We have taken it for consideration of deflection at that point. Okay, so now you can neglect that term from the equation and then you carry forward your integration part. So what will remain? What remains? WL by 2 into x by 2. Next will be wx square by 2 into x by 2. So we have did WL by 2 into x by 2 along with this x in first bracket. This will be in the second part. Okay, integrate it with given limit. You will come across a deflection at C equals to 5WL square, L raised to 4 divided by 384 EI. Here our first unit revision is ended. Thank you.